Hi, this is Fred Migliore here once again with my co-producer Steve Matteo, who beyond FM Odyssey is a journalist, a writer, a record collector. And in this episode of whatever we call this, we're going to be reviewing some of the new reissues from the Beatles solo catalog that have most of these just came out, right?
Yeah, most of these have come out, if not in the last, few weeks, within the last month or so. It's
Okay,
that time of
great,
year.
great, great. And I'm sure you're familiar with several of them, but well, whenever they do a remaster of certain things, there's always little interesting things that we learn about them, which Steve is going to tell us about. So, first of all, welcome back.
It's great to be here, Fred.
hmm So, what you got?
All right, so we'll get started. Um,
What'd you say? We ain't.
I said we'll
ain't
get started
oh, I thought you
with
said we ain't started.
this
I'm
guy,
sorry.
okay?
hmm
And you can see that cover, how that does that like that
Now,
with
what is
John and
that?
Yoko. Okay, so since
What's
I
the
don't know
back
how
look
long
like?
it's been, Sean Lennon and Yoko have been putting out these beautiful reissues. They've
hmm
all been roughly this size of various albums, including Plastic Ono Band, Imagine. There's been a number of releases. So this one is really unusual in that basically what they've done is they've taken the Sometime in New York City album, and Fred, you have a vinyl copy of that.
I
If you could
do.
hold that up for the studio audience and show it to them.
Show it to the
Um,
viewers.
yeah, and there it is. A very iconic album. This was the album that John Lennon did that came out right after Imagine. And it was a very political album. It was very much about the politics of the time, radical politics. John and Yoko were living in New York. They were very involved with people like Jerry Rubin and John Sinclair, and they were just very radical at this time. This was
Right,
their
and
peak.
also too, they spent a week as co-hosts on the Mike Douglas show in 1972.
Right,
Which for anyone that hasn't seen that,
right.
that is a piece of history you got to go hunting for because that's amazing. And the people
Yes,
they had on the show that week were all guests that John and Yoko wanted to have, and they didn't get any friction from the management when it came to the people that they wanted to have on, which was the Jerry Rubins and the this.
right,
Yeah. So sorry.
right. So no, it's fine. It's good. I'm glad you added that.
Go.
So, what John was really trying to do is he really was like, I'm done with the Beatles, I'm with Yoko, and, we want to be positive and we want peace. And we're going to do it in a way that's creative and it's upbeat and it's positive and use all the various media manipulating kind of forces. They literally did things like they were selling a product, like they were selling, advertising. And boy, would that be a good thing to do now about certain things. And that's all I'll
Sure.
say on that.
hmm
And so when him and Yoko released the Sometime in New York album, people did not like it. It did not do well. And some people felt that, John, we want you to be the lovable Beatle. We don't want you to be this radical guy saying give peace a chance. But anyway, regardless of that, let's talk about what's in this box set. And so the primary thing that's in here is that album that you see, that double album, which is one album of all studio material, and it's very much a collaboration between John and Yoko. And there are songs that just John sings, and there are songs that just Yoko sings, which they did way before Double Fantasy, by the way, obviously on this album. And then the other album that's in there of these what they call live jams, and that's what they call it on here too. Okay, live jams, and there's stuff that they did in different configurations with different musicians, including Frank Zappa. Okay.
Right.
So I will just grab a couple of things here. This box set, this Frank Zappa and the Mothers box set, there's some of the same material. And as a matter of fact, this is like an expanded version on some of this stuff. There are things that are on here that are not part of this box. I highly recommend this. I mean, I think the album that people know from this period from the mothers is, of course, this album. This is a
Hmm.
reissue of it that came out recently. I just wanted to just show that. I don't want to go too off on a tangent here. Um, and then some of this material had come out on this album,
Right.
this reissue. And what's on here that's also on this box was John and Yoko did these one-to-one concerts where they raised money for the children of Willowbrook. And they played these two shows at Madison Square Garden. It was the first time John had performed in quite a while. And it was mostly backing him was mostly the group called Elephant's Memory. And so everything that's on here is on this new box. And I'll just also just tell you, you get 9 discs in here. Okay. So there are 6 CDs and there are 3 Blu-rays. And what's on the 6 CDs is the same thing that's on the 3 Blu-rays. So you can listen to it any way you want. You can on the Blu-rays, you can listen in stereo, you can listen in 5.1, or you can listen in Dolby Atmos if you have that sort of equipment, which I don't, and I wish I did. And then there's all kinds of stuff on here that was not on any of these releases that I showed. There's a whole disc called Home Jams, and it's like he does oldies songs. At the end, he does a bunch of Phil Oak songs. It comes with a really beautiful booklet. You know, John and Yoko were really good about chronicling everything that they did in terms of, writing about it, taking pictures, videos, filming. Uh, so now, all these years later, they put all this stuff together and were able to really, really take a deep dive into this. And this is about the most different of all of these boxes that have come out because most of them have just been, a particular album and then, all kinds of studio stuff and, different things. But this is really interesting and different. It's been a bit controversial because there's a particular song that we're not going to say the title of that's on that Sometime in New
Still,
York
after all these
album.
years, we still can't say the title of it.
Right. So they left that off here, I guess, to be sensitive, to be politically correct. We're not going to debate right
Right, right,
now
right.
whether that was a good idea or not. I think that's
Okay.
not for us here to do.
Right,
We
right.
really just want to let people know that this is out there.
Great.
Um, I've listened to most of it. I'm going to be reviewing it. I'm reading the book, which is great. I mean, this has been out for a while, and I think this came out in October. So it's been out for a while. It's taken me a little time to kind of catch up to it, but I don't like to rush through these things.
Hmm.
But these are beautiful boxes. I mean,
Great.
Sean and Yoko have done a great job on these. So anyway, so that's John.
I'm interested in the Ringo ones.
Okay. I was going to do Wings next and save Ringo.
Okay.
Okay. Because I want to start with the boxes. Okay. So this is Wings, and that's what it's called. It's 3 albums. It's all Wings. There is no Paul McCartney solo music on here. There's been other releases that have had that Wingspan, All the Best. Um, and this is the one that you get from the McCartney store. So it's 3 vinyl records. They're all color vinyl, 3 different color vinyl. It comes with an amazing booklet. The person that did the
What kind of
graphics,
vinyl were they?
they are on color vinyl, different color vinyl. And
Oh, okay. So different color vinyl. Oh, different color vinyl.
the person who did the graphics on here is Aubrey Poe Powell, and you know him if you know all of the amazing Pink Floyd albums and the design that was done on them. He's part of what's called hypnosis. I can never pronounce it right. It's not hypnosis. It's HIG gnosis or something like that.
Right. He did Dark Side of the Moon too. Right.
Right,
Mhm.
exactly. And he
So
worked
what's
with Paul
so
before on Venus and Mars.
so what's it? What's on those records?
So it's all Wings. It's album cuts, singles. There's no rarities on here. There's no unreleased material. It's very random in terms of the order. It's excellent. It
And how many
sounds
albums is that?
fantastic.
How many albums is that?
3. It's 3 albums. And it's a beautiful package, and the booklet is incredible. And it comes with 2 posters and It has stickers. You know, the Lennon too. I didn't get into depth with it, but that also comes with all kinds of posters and
Right, right.
stickers and all kinds of, memorabilia.
So is this like the whole span of Wings, or is it just focused on a certain period of time in their career?
It's the whole thing from the first album right through to the last. I guess it's Wildlife um, through Back to the Egg. So there's no Ram on here. There's no McCartney.
Right, right, right.
None of that is on here.
Mm-hmm.
This is just Wings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. And then, what's great about it is listening to the songs that were not the ones that were played on the radio a lot, the deep cuts, how good they are, how good the music was. Paul was, he had a rough go putting the band together. And then, critics thought the music maybe was a little lightweight compared to what John and maybe George were doing. But in retrospect, it's incredible. I mean, you've got albums in here, music from albums like Band on the Run, which is an incredible album. It shows how really good. If you're a Wings fan, you're gonna want to have this. It's a beautiful package. It's really well done. I think it's a good introduction too for people who don't know who Wings is, but
Right,
maybe
right.
want to,
And it's available on CD too for people that.
right. You can
Okay,
get
cool.
it in black vinyl. It comes in I think it's a 2 CD set that includes all the music. You just don't get all the good. We're
Hmm.
not showing all the goodies and stuff here today. We're not doing that. We're kind of skipping that.
Okay.
Um,
So Ringo's next.
yes, but before I do that, there's this book which is a great companion book. This is put out by McCartney.
Hmm.
Um, it's called Paul McCartney Wings, The Story of a Band on the Run. It's a great book. It's an oral history, so it's all interviews with people. It's not a narrative. And it's got, pictures and color pictures, charts,
Hmm.
tour itineraries, discographies. It's over 500 pages. It's a perfect companion to this book and to this box set, and I highly recommend it. So we'll
Okay.
move on from John and from Wings, and here we go again with Ringo, and these are all also color vinyl, and it's his first four albums. Okay,
Mm.
so I'll try to do them in order here, and I seem to be missing one. Where is it? Okay, so I'll start off with the very first Ringo album, the very first solo album.
Right.
Sentimental Journey. And by the way, that is the Empress, which was a pub in Liverpool that at one point was actually owned by Ringo's mother. And
Mm.
it's a famous place and obviously in Beatles history. And this is all covers of Great American Songbook stuff. All the things you've heard over the Sentimental Journey, Night and Day, Stardust, all of those songs, and each song has a different arranger. Richard Perry, Klaus Voormann, Paul McCartney, Quincy Jones, George Martin. Um, it's great, and he loves this music. I mean, this is not just some crazy idea he had. He really truly loves this music, and it's excellent. This is the first album, and
Now
then the next one.
is that on Apple? The reissue?
Yes, that's on Apple. I'll just, what I'll just do with this one. I'll pull this one out. Okay, there's the Apple label.
Okay.
And you can't really get a
No.
really good look at this, but it's on this buttermilk
Hmm.
vinyl. They're all different colors, each one of them, all four of them.
Right,
And they
right.
they sound great. They shouldn't have put a paper sleeve in here. They should have put a nice polyvinyl sleeve in here or an audiophile sleeve, but they didn't do that.
Hmm.
So, and then the next one, which is an even better album, okay, is Buku Blues.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not a blues album. Sorry, this is a country album, and
Hmm.
it's an authentic country album recorded in Nashville. Pete Drake was the producer, the main guy that sort of put this thing together. He's a pedal steel player, a well-known country player. You know the song Nashville Cats by
Sure.
Love and Spoonful? Okay, well that's who backs him up on this. And
Hmm.
it's a gatefold. It's really nice. You can
Right. That
see
has
on the back all the different players. And I'll just read a couple of the names just really quickly. Charlie Daniels, Charlie McCoy, um, uh, Ben Keith, um, and three people, or two people, and a group who were part of Elvis's band. You've got DJ Fontana, and there's one other person, and because I don't have my glasses on, I can't read it. Okay. But anyway, it's a wonderful album. And it's like, it's country sort of filtered through a rock sensibility or a different kind of sensibility before that was even a thing. I mean, this would
Hmm.
go great with a Willie Nelson album from this period, or even a Chris Christopherson album from this period. And
Right.
Ringo's a huge country fan.
And
So
that had Back Off Boogaloo on it too, didn't
no,
it?
it did not. That's
What
not
was
the
the
album.
single off of that?
There really wasn't. These first two albums, there really wasn't much in the way of that sort of thing.
Oh,
I
okay.
think that's on one of the other albums that I'm going to get to. And I'm sorry, we're going through this quickly because we want to keep these things brief. And so then the next album, of course, the Ringo album. And this was his big, huge hit album. And all the Beatles are on this. They all contribute, Paul, John, and George, um, in various different ways. It's a wonderful album. Some of the hits that people will know from this is I Am the Greatest, Photograph, You're 16, and this was a huge album produced by Richard Perry, who at the time
Mhm.
was really at the top of his game producing Carly Simon.
Right.
He was producing Harry Nilsson. Um, and there's so many great people on this album. I mean, it's a
That's the one out of the catalog.
right. And it comes with a beautiful, I'm just going to show this because I think this is worth showing. It comes with this beautiful booklet with artwork by Klaus Vormann. It's a little hard to see, but
I
it's
see
a
it real well. Hmm.
every one is a two-page spread and has an illustration by Klaus Vormann.
Wow.
And
And that's on Apple also?
yes, these are all on Apple. I mean, it's a custom. This is what's called a custom label. So it's not an app. Well, it's got the apple there. So there's the apple.
Oh, okay, but it's
Okay.
not the green apple. That's
But
because I
right,
didn't remember
well,
that.
it's a green apple. It's just that it's what's called a custom. It's
Right,
called
right.
a custom label. That's
And
real fancy talk there. So, and then the final one. This is the one you were thinking of. The final one we have here is Goodnight Vienna.
hmm.
And
Right.
this was not as big an album as Ringo, but nonetheless, it had on it Goodnight Vienna, obviously. It had Snookeroo, which was written by Elton John and Bernie Taupin. It had the No No song by Hoyt Axton, and Only You is on here, Goodnight Vienna. And there's been like no reissues of Ringo albums through the years, except
Hmm.
every once in a while, some random album. And
Right,
all of a
right.
sudden, these just came out with very little fanfare and released at a time when there's so much other stuff out right now.
Sure. No, I
It's
get it.
kind of incredible.
All right.
Um,
So we're at that time when we're going to do something we do during every video where Steve picks an album unbeknownst to me, and I pick an album unbeknownst to him. And from our vast collection of albums, and we see if we can surprise each other and also give you folks out there a little, mini history lesson on what they are and why we picked them. So, do you want me to go with this one?
sure.
Okay. So here's one for you. All right. So this actually came out in 1960 on April 21st, 1960, and it's by King Curtis. And the name of the album is The New Scene of King Curtis. I don't know if you
Okay.
can see that.
That's a
Can
good
you
one.
see it? Is it glary or is it okay?
No, that looks good.
Yeah,
Look at
yeah.
that. Wow, that's
And
that's
and it
excellent.
and it came out on the New Jazz label in 1960, and as recent and then it was like gone from the catalog. Even if you tried to find this record somewhere, you couldn't. It's been gone out of the catalog for a very, very long time. They did take songs from it and they put it on, other releases, compilation, greatest hits sort of thing. But then in 2013, a company by the name of Doxy Records in Europe released this on 180 gram HQ vinyl, meaning high quality vinyl. And this was a real turning point for a lot of the jazz, the jazz genre in 1960 was going to start going through a major metamorphosis between what 1960 and 1965 with the John Coltrane stuff becoming more popular and the Hank Mobley stuff and Freddie Hubbard. And this is like a great introduction to the way that things were going to change and an absolute great find. You could still find it out there. The one that I got was sealed, and it wasn't a fortune. I think it was like $20 or $25 for this, and it's made in Germany. So of course the pressing and the sound quality, and it's very, very quiet sounding vinyl. And this is what you want to get if you want to get some good fidelity. And such a great album, And of course back then, Steve, you can't read this, but remember when they used to do liner notes like that, where
Yeah.
the whole back was like a book?
Yep.
And it would take you the whole time of listening to it to read the back of what it was about. So that's my pick for you and for everybody else out there.
Okay, that's a good one. So I wanted to pick a Sandy Denny album. So I've
Mm.
already tipped my hat here a little bit. But what I did is I picked this one. Okay.
Oh,
Farther and
wow.
Gay. Okay. The one and only album from the group Farther and Gay. And
Hmm.
Trevor Lucas was the other sort of major member. And of course, at the time, Sandy Denny was a member of the Fairport Convention,
Right.
and she would do some solo works. She played early on with the Strawbs. Uh, this is a this is one of those albums where it's a one-off. I mean, that's the only album she did as part of this Father and Gay.
That looks like
And
a nice copy.
it's okay. It's a Carthage reissue that I bought many years ago. It's not an original copy, but it's in okay condition. These
Right, and
things.
for people that say Sandy Denny, Sandy Denny's the one that wrote "Who Knows Where the Time Goes," which has been covered by like a zillion people, including Judy Collins and everybody else, and that was one of her staple songs that she wrote. And if you've only heard the covers of that song by other people, it's definitely worth checking into Sandy Denny's version of that song, "Who Knows Where the Time Goes," that she did by herself, and she also did with Fairport Convention. So that's a great album. I love that album.
Yeah, it's produced by Joe Boyd. Um,
Joe Beats.
it's produced by Joe Boyd, and it's just it's great. This is a gatefold. It's a really nice, beautiful gatefold of the group they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like if you had been around then, and this is them playing live somewhere. If you had been around and you had seen this, I mean, this is just, this was a one-shot deal where you had the chance to catch this.
Right, right.
It's just, Joe Boyd he's an American, and he was involved with the first couple of Pink Floyd singles, and he was involved in getting either discovering or getting such folks off the ground as Fairport Convention, Nick Drake, Sandy Denny. He was, the Incredible String Band. I mean, he was a guy who was at the right place at the right time. He was very involved when he was here in America with the Newport Folk Festival. But if you can find this album, I highly recommend it. It would be called English folk rock, I think would be. I mean, Fairport Convention was sort of like they were kind of like the Birds of America, of England. I'm sorry, where they were combining rock and folk music. They were really kind of the first really to do it, and many different lineup changes of the group, obviously. But again, the one and only album from Father and Gay, a Sandy Denny album you really want to have.
Okay, well, that wraps it up for this edition of whatever we call this. I'm Fred Migliore along with Steve Matteo. And don't forget to like us and subscribe. And yeah, subscribe. Do that for us. That would be wonderful. So, anyway, we'll see you next time. Have fun.